To find a house they can actually afford, families in a growing megacity have to look further and further away from the center. The city is forced to expand outward, paving over green spaces and creating massive urban sprawl. That cheaper mortgage comes with a severe hidden tax. You save money on rent, but you pay for it with your time, sitting entirely paralyzed in daily gridlock. This forced commute takes a physiological toll. In Indonesia, the average person takes barely 3,500 steps a day, well below the global average. That lack of movement drives up obesity rates, while the sheer frustration of navigating traffic fuels chronic road rage and stress. This equation illustrates the Housing Plus Transportation Index, or H+T index. It evaluates true affordability by combining your rent and your commute costs. For a home to actually be affordable, those two expenses combined cannot exceed 45% of your household income. So look at what happens if you bring the cost of the commute down to zero. The State Railway, PTKI, is building 2,200 affordable apartments directly on top of Indonesia's busiest transit hub at Manggarai Station. Solving the affordability crisis requires building high-density proximity into the city center, prioritizing integrated land use over the search for cheap acreage at the city's edge. Urban planners constantly fight the last-mile problem, the physical distance between the train station and your actual front door. Transit-oriented development, or TOD, is an urban planning model that places homes so close to public transit that owning a private car becomes completely unnecessary. Here we see the 6Ds framework used to design these spaces. The strategy relies on density, diversity of buildings, design, distance to transit, destination accessibility, and demand management for vehicles. Apply that first metric, density, to Manggarai Station. It processes over 230,000 passengers and handles more than 1,080 train trips every single day. To integrate housing into a machine that is so active, engineers separated the rail traffic by elevating the tracks. That vertical separation cleared enough room on the 2.2-hectare footprint to anchor 8 high-rise residential towers. This density forces active mobility. By integrating commercial spaces and daily errands on the ground floors of the towers, residents naturally hit their 30-minute daily walking goals without even thinking about it. The architecture dictates the behavior. The building itself structures a healthier, highly active physical routine. There is a proposal to turn these concrete towers into a biological asset, creating a smart, green, and sustainable microecology right above the train tracks. The blueprint calls for outfitting the towers with off-grid solar panels and advanced membrane water filtration. These systems would capture and process rainwater to power automated rooftop smart farming. Across the 2.2-hectare rooftop, the vegetation produces 348 tons of oxygen annually, sustaining 471 people. Working in reverse, the plants absorb 494 tons of carbon dioxide, effectively erasing the emissions of 107 passenger cars. By utilizing the roof space for dense agriculture, the busiest transit hub in the country doubles as a self-sustaining urban lung. The economics of this project rely on a distinct advantage. Because the towers are built directly on land already owned by the State Railway, there are zero land acquisition costs. That missing expense is exactly what keeps unit prices restricted to between 500 and 600 million rupiah. Planners are also using a mechanism called land value capture. When you drop a massive transit hub into a neighborhood, the surrounding property values spike. Instead of letting private developers hoard that new wealth, the government captures the increased tax revenue to fund even more public infrastructure. To ensure that working-class buyers are not pushed out by these rising values, the investment institution Danantara is stepping in to structure inclusive financing and ownership models. Living here alters the daily experience of the city. You trade the stress of unpredictable traffic for reliable time on a train, hours you can actually use to rest or work without the mental burden of navigating gridlock. PTKA is acting as an urban architect. By restructuring the physical layout of the city, they are establishing a more affordable, lower-stress standard for megacity living.